I provided this is a summary of the items that I think it's good to work off of, as far as what we have moving forward, if there are any discussion items.
So,
So this was the August 4th email to you, Casey, asking for feedback for August 16th.
so we had, my biggest thing is, I need to know, first of all, do we have the committee meeting set up? Do we
I don't
have
think
the
we
people
need
already?
it, to be honest. I mean, that is really something we have not formed until later. And as far as the criteria, that would be really this committee to decide. The selection committee would be a group that would be brought together to review the applications once we get them. Now, that would be up to you all. I mean, if you want to, it would probably take 3 weeks to a month to get names and to get a selection committee on board, I don't think that's necessary at this time in order to keep things going, because that was, I believe, that our goal was to get this out in a timely fashion. And so,
We didn't start meeting until July, and then we're not gonna rush this. I hope to find those members as soon as possible, so we can go to council with this, so we can have their opinion on this. There's a lot of things that have changed on the application process, and I just hope that we can get those approved by town council as well.
Historically, they have not been approved by TAPCO.
and it really would be the discussion of this committee, whether it be the committee that decide whether they believe that it should go to town council, or believe whether you could decide within the committee.
I think that we bring recommendation to town council for approval. I think there's a lot of changes, including we're even changing the location where we are going to be. This facade grant is turning from a facade grant for the downtown area to all of the towns. And town council hasn't even given us instruction for that. They gave recommendation from central business, and I want to follow the proper channel. I want to, for me, to bring this to town council first, to make sure that is what they want. Because the reality is, I don't want to make the decisions, just Casey and I can give an opinion, and that's great. And I think we are both on the same path, where we want the rest of the town to be involved with this. But I also agree that we should be able to bring this to town council for review and approval. Because this shouldn't be just central business making recommendations. This should be recommendation to town council for approval from town council. Now, with that said, it needs 2 people to go to town council for approval. And I hope that Casey and I can agree to send this to town council, so we can obviously start the process. And that's gonna happen, that should happen next Tuesday, and that's why I'm so concentrating in this meeting today, because I think it's very important that we get this done today. I don't want to be like favoring some businesses. I don't want to appear like we are favoring some businesses. It's just town people and stuff making the decision, and 2 town council members. There should be more people in the public involved in this.
Well, we don't want to micromanage staff and things like that. Insert there that does, if that's what you're referring to, in
Like
highlighting. Right, in highlighting an individual business, is that what you're referring to?
No, I'm referring to everything. I'm referring, this should have come to town council. Has this been even mailed out? I haven't even gotten a response to that.
It's not been mailed out,
Okay, so that's good.
because we did hold off until the end of this meeting. It is ready to go.
Well, I think that right now, if I was to look at this and I love this business. I think she's very successful. I think she has a wonderful business in the downtown.
May I see the mailer? I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, sure. But I think if I saw this in the mail,
Yeah, there's a picture of
I may even
downtown and
just-
a picture of Cambria on the back.
yeah, but if I look at the front thing like that, it should be the facade thing is the biggest thing that you'll see.
Right, and it was a grant recipient from the
this is,
last cycle.
This is a business grant from the town, created by the town, not by a business. And I don't want to make it look like,
Having businesses promote the facade grant.
Angela, I'm not arguing with you.
Okay.
I'm just saying, in my opinion,
I think
and
that was
the
the
way I
opinion
would
of
like,
of staff.
and the
when we
way
did
I
that.
would like it to be,
Right.
I don't want just one business and there on the front. I want maybe the businesses, and maybe more businesses that are smaller on the right side, and maybe emphasize on the town providing this grant as a bigger thing.
Let me interject something right here. And I came to this meeting tonight as an ex officio member of all committees that I appoint. And I did appoint this committee. We have had nothing but slow movement, nothing but dragging our feet on this facade grant for the last 2 years. And council, and I've talked to 2 council members already, don't see a need to drag this thing out forever. Now, what you have here, we've never had any of this stuff go before the council. It's always been back to, I don't say council has given you a blank check, but they have approved the amount of facade grant in this year's budget. So the figure is set there at $25,000. Plus, I believe we have some money left over from a previous year, or have we used that?
We have, basically, it would be the 25,000 for the grants moving forward.
Okay, all right, so that, the amount, and you mentioned in your email, the amount had not been set. Well, yes, it has. It's $25,000. It's up
There
to
is
this
not a
committee.
point to
It
have
is up
central business
It is up
meetings.
to this committee instigate this program and get it moving. Now, if you want to wait till Tuesday night and
Yes.
bring it before council, I don't
That's
think you're
what I
gonna get,
want.
I don't think you're gonna get any objections to it, but that's fine.
That's great. I want it in town council.
So
and
now,
it should
at what
be the
length
proper
are you,
channel.
at what length are you willing to discuss this to council and give them your opinions and your
Just
negative
telling
thoughts?
them the changes that we're making the area different.
Well, we
We
saw
are
that.
changing the money that we're gonna give out, and that we have that recommendation to town council for them to approve. It shouldn't be just passed like this. Because right now, it was a
The
downtown.
dollar figure is $25,000.
I'm not gonna argue with you, Michael Barber.
Let me tell you something, right now, I appoint
You're
this.
not gonna raise your voice at me,
I-
sir. No, don't point your finger at me.
Well, then let me.
Don't point at, no, you're not,
Ms. Hicks,
I
you're
am right
dismissed.
here.
You're now dismissed from this committee, you can leave. I'll appoint another council member.
That should go to town council if that's the way you wanna do it.
Uh-huh.
Right now, I was appointed and you're not in the middle of town council meeting. You have no authority over this meeting right now.
I beg to differ with you. I appoint the committees, I recommend the
Well,
committees.
right now, you can go to
recommended
town
you.
council on Tuesday and you can say that.
You can
Right now,
darn sure,
you haven't
yes,
told
I'm
me
gonna
that.
do that. Now, don't tell me I don't have an authority over a meeting.
I think in the interest of expedite this process, I think we all agree this needs to get out. And Andrew and Amanda and staff have worked very hard on taking the comments that we submitted in June, July, and then they had a last call in August, this past month as well. Gave them the direction with our input, things like the dollar amount range, things like including a budget sheet, I mean, those were all things that were talked about.
The areas were shown too, weren't they?
Yes, and then it was incumbent upon staff, as they have done up until last week, to then run with it.
They
And
haven't
we need to
come
put
to
that
town
trust in staff.
I understand you haven't been wanting to come and have some of these meetings. I do want, this is very important to me. This is, I don't want to show off like this is favoritism to some businesses. I don't want
There's
just
no
town and
process
stuff
of
to do this.
If I might ask you, what favoritism is it showing to what businesses? I'm not sure I
If you
understand.
keep giving them to the same people like they were given in the past, right now we have put the stipulations where it makes it be fair to everybody else to get this grant. There has been a lot of things to make it fair for everybody.
No, and it's true, and I think.
That's the 10 commercial districts, so it's not
And,
at all
and
the same
it's
people.
wonderful. No, but in the past it was. In the past it was central business for a long time, just central location downtown. Well, right now, I just want to discuss my changes that I wanted to make a comment about, and I think I should have my time to be
Can-
able to do that.
Can we have
So I would-
those changes in writing before the next meeting?
Right now, I'm talking about the FAST grant, and this is what the meeting is about. The FAST grant. Right here, where it says, the mission statement, The facade grant program aims to help business owners with the consent of property owners. Can you please, Andrew, pass that by Reed, just to make sure that the wording is correctly, just in case there was a problem in one of the properties and one of the non-owners was to apply for a grant, and we don't have the proper consent?
Then they don't get they don't get a grant if they don't have the consent of the building owner, if they're a business owner. It's as simple as that. In writing, we can ask that the building owner has, has.
That is a pretty common procedure for our applications, that we have the owner application on. So if you have a business apply for, apply for a conditional use permit, you could, the owner has to sign off on it. It is a fairly standard practice.
So do you need a conditional use
No,
permit to be able to do
that's
the
just an
facade grant?
example of where we require owner consent to, to make sure, if we're going to enter, because basically we're improving, we're going into contract with the business owner, but but it is for the property owner, because they're ultimately benefiting from it. So they will need to sign off on the improvements and say that they approve, and they would have to sign the contract too, I would imagine. This is kind of a new area that we don't just allow property owners.
Yeah.
Were you able to talk to Reed regarding the non-discrimination wording under the contract?
Yeah, and I think, we did add language for that. And the
Oh,
application
was
was
that
provided to you
under the
on August 4th.
Okay.
It's on the bottom, that was provided to you.
Can you show me that, because I printed it out and I don't see
Sure.
it.
It's, if you look at the handout that I gave you,
It's these last three lines.
Okay.
we went back and forth with.
When I printed it out, it didn't come out.
Okay.
Okay, and then I had another one. Can we set it up, I think that we should do it for the 70 years. What do you think, Casey?
I think you restrict even more people that way. If you're gonna move it from 50, if anything, you go the other way, because there's not a lot of buildings that are 70-plus years old. in
Well,
any of our
didn't you have
districts.
like a list of 100 and something businesses? You sent us a list.
She had a list of 300 and some odd businesses
Yeah,
that
it
were
was,
underutilized,
it was 100
underutilized.
and something for the 70 year, and it was like
Yeah.
300 for the 50 year.
Mhm.
I just,
Yeah,
here
there
is
was
my,
some information that she had
here
provided.
is my
the Central
thought,
Business
that I
Committee.
think that if we do 70 years, we'll have like 100 and something businesses. I hope that, we can advertise to. But then not only that, we'll be able to, hopefully, be able to get her to take some pictures if she has any time, or if somebody has some time, to take pictures of those businesses before we do the facade grant to those businesses, and see if we can show a difference of what they look like before and what they look like after.
Happy to do that. We've been doing that, yeah, and,
Well, it's gonna be a bigger pool of, grants being given
so
out.
take pictures of the ones that didn't even get,
No,
You're
they
still
want,
saying just the recipients,
the
right?
recipients, yes.
okay.
Which is still not gonna, that wouldn't be a huge staff on burden at all, that might be a couple extra.
Don't we
photos.
work with somebody out of Salem that works on those things, and don't they do a before and after in their drawings?
It's because
A lot
we're
of times
changing
they
the
do
price
have the
limit.
drawing.
We are having grants for the smaller amount. So if you look at the application, we're doing, not everything is for 4,500. We are having some for
I see.
1 to 500, 500 to 1,500, 1,500 to 3,000, 3,000 to 4,500.
Okay, I see
Mhm.
that,
So-
that's new.
And for the smaller
We're
ones, we did
doing
yeah.
that. We're hoping to reach a lot more businesses. Hopefully, we'll reach every single one of them.
Well, the other thing I see on this application that I would recommend that we add,
Mhm.
you have the applicant's signature, and down there you need to have the property owner's signature, if not the same person.
So that's right. I like that. Can we do that?
Mhm.
Let's see here. Where it says, how does it work? I do understand that you want something else in there, but I do think that in here where it says that, we should say, a selection committee is comprised of town staff, town council members, members of the community will review applications, select finalists to receive the grant award. I would say it goes to council for the work, because obviously, we're not going, it's gonna come as a recommendation from our town staff and the community members, but it's also supposed to go, and I want it to go to town council for, final approval. So I think it would be nice, I would like to have that wording added to the application, well, not the application, but where the program information talks about that. Would that be possible? Because, it still has to go to town council for that anyhow.
Town council will approve the
The
recommendations of
yeah.
the approval
But I
as
think
normal.
it needs to be specified under how does it work. You see that?
So, I
Where
think
it
it's under,
says about the Passaic Grant Program 2023,
Okay,
Thank you.
so now you're saying,
to add that wording to it. Because
from
it's not
September
like
18th,
they
okay.
will get the words that day that we select the finalists. It should go to where, it always goes to town council anyway. You find it?
I don't have a yeah, I see it now. I don't have a problem with saying, here are the recipients, bringing those before town council.
But they still have to approve them, so it should still
Well,
be
right.
part of the process.
Ultimately, it goes in the monthly bill list anyway, so yeah, they have to approve it, right?
No, the way it has worked in the past, it still goes to town council to approve those finalists. Like the people that we have given recommendation to from Central Business, it goes to town council for
Right.
final approval.
That's, okay, that's fine.
so town council will make
Yeah.
the final approval.
Mhm. So, do we agree, going back to the building age, are you okay with 70 for this year?
How many buildings are in that
I
category?
think it was like 100 and something.
I don't have that pulled up.
We're gonna limit it, we'll push it out to 70 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna automatically exclude a good portion of those buildings because of their age. They may been built 25 years ago, so they're automatically
Right.
not eligible for a grant. If you're trying to set a building must be at least 70 years old.
There were a lot of buildings, because you have to think about all through the town. It wasn't just the downtown area. Cambria is still qualify under that. You have Roanoke Street, Radford, you
I
still
understand.
have,
But by the same token, there's 50 years or 70 years,
so what do
it's got an
we
age
do
on the
when we
building.
have 300 applications, I think we have to start, I like the work that she did. Amanda did a really good work finding all those buildings under those ages
Mhm.
and giving us a good basis to work with. I think next year, should definitely work on the 50 years thing, and hopefully one day we'll be able to go down to the 10-year thing,
Have we in the past had that 70-year limit
No.
on this?
No, I think it was 50 years for downtown only, but it was only some streets. It
And that was
wasn't
only
the whole-
last year, right? That was new.
Yeah, last year.
Just
But
on
last
this
year, we
list.
put 50.
We're trying to make this all
50.
more accessible, which is why we expanded all the districts. But if we go to 70, we're limiting the people who can apply for this and making it less accessible rather than more accessible.
Well, let's go back and look at how many businesses are under that category, because I remembered it was a lot.
But it's a lot more with 50.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
And if we do 25, it would be even more.
Right.
My hope is one day to be able to do this for everybody, Like I was telling you before, that's why we came out with the lower numbers.
So it's more that there would be, it's more that there may be folks that are turned down. You'd like to lessen the pool so there's less people that
Yeah.
are turned down.
Yes.
It seems like it'd be a good problem when you get a number of applicants.
But
In
how
my
much of a problem do you want? If you have, let's first say you have 100 businesses that fall under the category, and they all apply.
Uh-huh.
How are we going to manage that when they're all gonna be the same thing,
Well,
Most of the buildings from 50 years ago were built the same. You think about that, construction hasn't really changed. if you're talking about that pool of businesses, they're gonna be very similar. They're gonna have the same type of building, it's gonna be the same building inside, the same building outside, the same, face of the building. How are you gonna tell one, oh, I'm gonna give you the money, but the other one you can't?
Well, their buildings may be in different conditions. They may look the same, but they may not be the same condition at all, right?
The whole thing is, for the outside of the building, I don't care whether it looks like a dump inside,
Right.
we're
No, it's
trying
just
to
the
help the
outside.
front.
Yeah,
let's
just the
see.
outside.
Right, and if our-
Did you find it, Andrew? I think that was.
I have it, yeah, I'm trying to pull it up here, but. When was that?
Amanda, the thing
Yeah, that
about
was
Liz.
back in July, yeah. That was July 26th.
That was the first email she sent after that business meeting. I love her updates, though.
I mean, I just think it's,
Joanna, can I say something?
Yes.
Can I ask something? How many applications did you all have last year?
I had about 15.
yeah,
15.
How long
15,
did the
13.
committee take to look at those 15 spots?
It wasn't actually that bad after we got it all.
How long did it take though?
We
I think
did
it was
take
2 or 3 meetings.
2 or 3 meetings.
Because they were coming up with selection criteria at that time,
Right.
because there was a desire to have,
I
yeah.
was around for some of this.
Right, so you know,
I
yeah.
get that, but I'm
Right.
just, 100 applications seems
Well, it's,
Yeah, I know, I think it would be a lot, yeah, I do
for a
too.
committee, a new committee that is just appointed to go through, that seems like a lot.
I agree, yeah, although I would like to have more than 15.
Oh, I would,
Right?
like I
And
said,
so
which is why you
somewhere-
expanded it,
Yeah.
absolutely, I think,
Right.
I kind of agree with Joanna, though, maybe you start with 70, and then next year, if the
So
committee does a
it's
great job.
140 if it's 70 years. It's,
oh, for 19,
it's
1950, yeah, it's
250 if it's 50.
53 years old.
So what happens if we have 200 applications?
you'll
I
have a lot of
just-
meetings.
Yeah, I mean, I think the criteria comes into play, and you
I think
evaluate those on the
150
criteria, and you
It's
look
more
at,
than enough, and even she mentioned, that's
Yeah.
a lot. I mean, 150,
and you look at areas that you can make the most impact. And you look at your criteria, and you come up with what you believe is the best
but I
direction.
feel like the areas are all important, you know?
Right, so,
I mean,
well,
to me-
sure, yeah.
To me, I'm not trying to argue here, I'm just saying, thinking with the right mind, 150. We have, how many community support grants? We have like 15 applications?
Oh, God, yeah.
Maybe 15?
18, 20, it's not, doesn't exceed 20.
Okay, so it's about like less than 20. Can you imagine 150? Because somebody may just ask for $100 just for paint.
I think you have to evaluate impact. Yeah.
I think,
I mean, is that really gonna make
I
as big of
think-
impact to somebody that's willing to put tens of thousands of dollars into the
I know,
building?
but we only have limited amount of money to work with too.
I know, but if someone is, my point there is that, what we've seen is folks will, it may just be a $4,500 match, but they're spending tens of,
Oh, no,
$20,000. Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but what happens if we really wanna make an impact for a business, and then all of a sudden we get one for, we get a whole bunch of them for the rest? I want to help as many people with the amount of money we have, but I also don't wanna be unfair. And I think we start with 70 years this year for 150 applications. Well, we hope to get a lot of those, hopefully, 30
Okay.
or 20.
And if we look at the areas, and just so that, and that sounds fine, I think it's a matter of just understanding where those would be coming from. So anything outside of Roanoke Street,
Well, because
you
too,
wouldn't, like anything outside of, like, from Depot down to the top of the mountain, there's barely any properties that would qualify.
but I mean, here is the other thing too, if you have a building that really looks in disrepair, and, I mean, we have so many buildings in the town that look in disrepairs in other areas of the town.
I mean, yeah, you're kind of focusing
make
it more on our historic
We're not
areas,
saying anything
which is,
in here,
yeah, right.
we don't have that criteria at this time.
Well, I mean, because you have the sheer number of properties. You have 64 downtown, and you have 25 in Cambria that qualify from 1970, so those are eligible. or 1950, so those are the eligible properties, so.
What do you,
So the
I think
further-
we
the
should
further
call
you
a
get out
number
from the
here.
historic
Casey,
areas,
what-
you're gonna-
what
the
num-
less
what
properties
year
you
do you
have.
think?
Say again?
What year do you think? How many, like 50 or something?
I mean, I would
I
personally
love,
say with 50.
I would love the 50, to be honest with you, because I want to help a lot of businesses. I would love to help every business in the town.
I mean, I could be, I'd be love to be proven wrong on this, but every year since we've done this for the last 3 or 4 years, however long it's been, we have never gotten a ton of applicants. You
It's
know?
because it was a larger amount, you know, and a lot of people didn't want to apply because it was such a large amount. They were expecting to get $4,500 and spend $4,500.
It was always up to 4,500, it wasn't, that was the
I
ceiling.
understand, Casey, but when I have spoken with people downtown,
Mhm.
they have talked to me and said, I never applied. This is the reason why I have come out with that information for you, because I have gotten so many complaints over the last years, saying, well, I never applied because I just don't have the money to spend.
Okay, so we fixed that by putting price ranges in.
Exactly.
Right, so that should solve that problem, shouldn't it?
But my problem is that we may have too many applications right now that we have to turn down. I don't want to turn anybody down.
Oh, I mean, it's inherently a competitive process, right? I mean, and there's people that, you know, didn't follow through in years past, and that's just the way it is. You know, it's just like anything else that we put out there. We turn people down for things all the time. We do.
Christie, you have something?
I just, like I said, I don't know. There were, your downtown areas, you already had people that are applied there, and your Cambria area, you know, last year, so it's, hopefully, did you all ever put your stipulation in there that it would be like for, you applied one year, you didn't get the next, or are the same people gonna be applying again?
And they shouldn't be, because it was a 10-year
That
thing.
is that the stipulation, right?
No.
That preference?
No, well, we just-
But I
It
wasn't
was a
sure.
preference.
It's a preference, would this be a
As a
first
preference,
award
give
for
us a new
business, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you potentially, you have the same applicants this year that you had last year, potentially, correct?
I mean, potentially, although they probably get dropped lower to the
Right,
list.
like Chandlery, she looks like she's done a beautiful job, she's
Oh, yeah.
probably done. But,
Yeah.
I mean, there are,
Yeah.
so some of them are probably, they're done with the process. Do you know if everybody last year completed their stuff, or they're gonna reapply again?
Some did not complete.
Yeah, I know the poor lady over at Trinity.
Thank
You know, something else I would really like to add, and we can go back about the ages one more time too. I would like that too on the application, have they apply for another grant? Not that that's going to disqualify them, but I really would like to know if they have gotten another grant
Like
From the
what-
town?
from any other organization or anything. Because I think there is historical grants too that you can get for your buildings, not only like the watershed thing or whatever that the other people were trying to get as well. But I mean, with historic buildings, you can get, you know, lots of money for windows and things like that. Several people in the town have used that in the past. And I would just really, I don't want people to double.
How is that, I mean, I guess, yeah, that information is just for us to know that other people are taking advantage of
I just
grants?
want to take, because I want to
Okay.
make sure that someone that's not getting the help as much can get the help, you know? If you have someone that has a lot of money in the town and is able to apply for all these grants and everything, because you have a lot more knowledge and information, I just feel like it would be fair just to be able to have some of that information.
I mean, at the end of the day, you miss every ball you don't swing for. And so if they're not, you know, if they're not getting things, and they're not applying, we can't help that
But it's
fact, if they're not
nice.
applying.
To me, it's like, because this is taxpaying money,
Right?
as a taxpayer money, I can see, you know, if I'm giving you money as a business owner,
Mm-hmm.
and you're getting money for your business, and I really know you got money from the state, you got another money from the town or whatever. I think personally, it is definitely double dipping to me in my perspective, in my opinion, but I also would like to think about, well, maybe if you got $5,000 for your building this year because, you know, you needed it, but then all of a sudden I know you got another 10 grand from some other organization. And
Well,
then
Businesses look for grants all the time. You know, like, we shouldn't penalize a business just
it
because
wouldn't
they've
be
gotten another grant.
penalized. I mean, with the state, I have filled out applications for another business I work with,
Right?
and it's not my business, but I've applied, and that's one of the stipulations on the grant. They want
Would
to
it be
know how many.
low-interest loans that are government subsidized as well? I mean, I guess I just would struggle with, I would need to be able to give direction to whoever's applying of
Mhm.
what counts and what doesn't count.
We
Uh,
stipulate in
and-
the application that if the amount you're requesting along with your matching grant, which I understand they have to match, let's complete the project that you want to do.
I like that.
I mean, if it's, well, you know, somebody wants to do $30,000 work on the front of the building, and they get part of it done, you know, it's all gotta be done, the entirety, because they're gonna meet with the artists.
Yeah. And-
So
and-
it's gotta complete, you know, somebody wants to apply for just paint, well, you know, all that's gonna do is put makeup on a pig. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just gonna cover up, and the integrity of the building, the look of the building's not changing. You know, what we've done in the past, particularly with Chandelier and some of the others, I mean, they've made a drastic change in the look of their buildings, and that's what it's all about.
I think the reason why we are changing a lot of where the program is going, seeing businesses like, for example, Cambria Depot Station. She doesn't have the money to spend
Okay.
fixing her building. She doesn't have the
I know.
$2,500. She can have $300 to fix the main entrance on her door, you know, and we'll be able to pay the $300, which will allow to give the other part of the grant to somebody else that really can afford the money.
Well, I mean,
I don't necessarily think that paint is putting lipstick in a pig. I mean, women put lipstick on themselves and make them look better. But I'm just saying that for me, where a lot of this came out to, because I talked about business where I grew up. The towns where I grew up, they started this facade grant with paint. And every year they got a small amount. And I am one of those people that have gotten that money over the years. You know how many colors I have in my building today? Probably 10 or 12. And that means that every year they put a different color. Now it became a touristic destination. That town did because of the facade grant program with painting. And I think, you know, people come from all over the world over there to look at these buildings, and they're not looking at it, oh, they look like pigs. No, they look like beautiful, colorful places. So I think there is, if we bring, even if it's just painting on one building, I think it will really change the facelift of Christiansburg.
well, that's,
I mean, I would
Well,
love for every person to spend $1 million on their buildings.
well, I mean,
You know,
if we,
$500,000, $10,000,
if-
$5,000.
if we
Yeah.
get, you know, a $25,000 grant, if we have 60 or 70 applications, and basically we're only saying, hey, $333 a piece. That would equate out, if each grant applicant was awarded something, $333. Well, that's not enough. I don't think it's enough to paint the outside of a building. I'm sure you've checked paint prices lately, they're not cheap.
But it will
But
help
to add,
changing the
but to
frame of
add
their
the
doors and
facades and, you know, that's the thing, the facade, and that's what we've gotten really good mileage on with the Chandelier. And if you remember the electrical supply, they changed the entire outlook. Look at that building.
And even just the business structure of them, you know.
Mhm.
I talked about this in council. It makes me want to go to their store a lot more.
Mhm.
But I do think that it is important to keep the smaller amounts too, just because it gives a bigger pool of people to also apply. And we're not taking away the 3,000 to 4,500.
No,
That's
I
why I
understand.
said that if we have less amount of businesses, let's for say you have 30 applicants, and you have 5 great ones that deserve the $4,500 or $3,000, there goes your money.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm saying. I do want to make the bigger impact, you know, but I also want to make sure that we help a lot more businesses. And like you're saying, I love the fact that we can help more businesses. I would love to be able to give a grant to every business in the town, I do. But we have to be the mean people and say, hey, we're only going to help so many.
That's what the dollar amounts break down to, for those different options.
And I think when you look at this application, I mean, it it is a pretty detailed thing, when you're providing the details, potential improvements, so on and so forth, provide budget summary for the, so people are gonna, that want to apply for this grant, are gonna want to apply for this grant because it's got,
Somebody last year that's put to be determined on
Yeah,
on their
yeah, we
application.
had applicants, which that's another thing I want you to help us with, or Amanda or somebody in the staff. I know it takes a lot more work, but that's the reason why I want less numbers too. There was one applicant that didn't literally do anything.
But they would immediately be disqualified,
But I
Like it's just,
understand that,
you
but
know.
I don't,
right?
They were.
but,
Yeah.
but I understand that, but if maybe, you know, it's like the people at the one place that they put some stuff in there about landscape. I will love, maybe it's the language, maybe they're having a problem with that, maybe that's where, you know, if you have less applicants, you guys can reach out a lot more people and be able to communicate with them and maybe even help them fill out the, don't fill it out for them, but just tell them, hey, you know what, we love drawings, we love this, the chandelier did an amazing job, why didn't we pay Hill Studio? She did her own job.
We don't, it's Robin Poteet that does the drawings.
For the chandelier, she got the drawings, I thought we
No,
even
no,
paid for
but
that.
but Robin Poteet is our artist that we use.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, that one, from Salem.
Right.
So anyway, so she didn't need any of that because she did her own homework. And so I don't know, I'm just thinking
Right,
that,
yeah, right, and she could use the impactful grant, right?
yeah.
Which is a good
So if
thing.
we wanna still do an impact, and if
Right.
we still
Yeah,
want to
and I
help
do
a lot of
think
businesses.
that, you know, and it's important to remember, I mean, I do think that someone that is just putting paint on their building may have a hard time scoring well. Because, I mean, if you look at impact, additional investment, you know, planning goals, those types of things, you know, that might, I think, you know, it's I think that it would be, if we get 50 grants for $250 to paint buildings, I think that's, you know, we'd have to evaluate those against each other, but I mean, I do think those larger grants that show more impact to the building and the surrounding area are
And
gonna
that's why
rank well.
if we keep it under the 70 years, we'll still be able to have some impact, and maybe we'll be able to still give some of those grants, larger grants, have less applicants, and have a larger impact. I am really excited about even the changes. Do you mind if do you wanna bring that one to council for the 50 or 70, or do you wanna make a decision right now? I am going with the 70. I love to help a lot more people, but I think the larger impact is very important to me.
I mean, I can be on board with the 70, I think it's gonna drastically limit the pool.
Well,
to
let's
a
work
very
on with
small-
70, because I think it's the whole town we're
Um,
talking about, not Summit Street.
But it does focus, by the numbers here, it does
Yeah.
focus more on the historic areas,
Yeah.
like we've focused
Because of
on
the
before.
year, too, of the age
Right.
of the building, so.
Right,
So let's work on the 70, and we'll send it to town council if that's okay. And then there was another
is
thing.
that your recommendation, Casey? You would support that?
I mean, I think that, I think we can make all these changes here, so that Andrew and Amanda can get this thing out the door.
I want to take it to town council.
I just don't think that's necessary, and that's
Well-
just me on the record, that's my opinion.
Okay. I want to take it to town council.
So we have one that does and one that doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know what you do in that situation.
You're looking at me like I'm the tiebreaker.
Well, you are with a
I may well be.
Yeah.
I would also like to add in there, is there any way that we can have, I didn't see anything in there, a start day of improvement?
we need to work that out, you know. That would be hard for them, I mean, because they're somewhat subject to our review schedule and when we award and when it goes to council and when they start. I mean, we could ask them to estimate, that would be fine.
The estimated
That
start
would be,
date.
I like that one.
I think, asking them to pick a firm date is virtually impossible, because they're working off of our schedule, not the other way around. But if you wanna include estimated start date, that's fine.
So you say you're okay with the sentence, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I can be on board with it. I'm skeptical that we're gonna get what we want out of it, but I would love to be surprised.
Let's do that. And then, about this, is there any way that we can bring this back to council or central business and see if we can? I like her picture and her business, like, once again, I think she has done an amazing job, and this is what it's all about. But I do think that we need to make this Christiansburg Casagrande a larger thing instead of just being an advertisement for one business.
Have all these cards been printed?
Yeah.
And how much was the printing cost on that?
$150.
$150?
You said they were printed out, I thought you said not.
No.
They weren't mailed out. The
Been
the
sent.
mailing would be about $150 as well. So we haven't mailed them, so we haven't spent the money on
How
that.
come that didn't come to town, to central business?
Well, an email was sent on August 4th.
Yeah,
And
but
then a
it
reminder
didn't
email
show
was
any
sent
of
on
this.
August 14th. Again, I think
She didn't
that
say she was sending these mailers out.
we had our staff work together to come up with, and I would want to show you a video as well, just so that, let's see, a promotional video for it.
And this is not our job to micromanage staff on this level.
I don't wanna show up, this is our job in central business to make sure that we oversee what's happening with the Casagrande and stuff.
Well, the
because
parameters of the
that's not
application,
fun.
yes, I agree.
I
But
think this as
The
well.
presentation of the mailers is one of, now, if you wanna go back over and, if you came right here and you superimpose 2022 award grant recipient,
I like
Just show
that too.
but I don't wanna go,
Do you want to start this again?
If you're a small business owner who needs help making.
I will do what the committee asked me to do.
Look as good as the service or product you offer inside of your building, the town of Christiansburg can help. The town is expanding its facade grant program to all small business owners who have a storefront 50 years or older within the town. The program previously focused on the downtown and Cambria areas, but now the facade grant is offered anywhere within town limits. Here's how it works. Submit your application. If approved, the town will match your funds up to $4,500 for improvements to the front of your building. This could include door, column, and lintel replacement, window restoration, stabilization of your facade, landscaping improvements, murals, and more. I will be holding 3 public meetings to answer questions, 2 in person and 1 virtual. Visit christiansburg.org/facade grant for criteria, the application, and public meeting details.
So I love this, but I will change a couple of things. If you are approved, because it doesn't say, it stays right there in the.
it did say if approved. It's somewhere in the video it said if approved.
Can you play that little part, because I didn't hear it?
Is it towards the end?
If you're a small business owner who needs help making the outside of your business look as good as the service or product you offer inside of your building, the town of Christiansburg can help. The town is expanding its facade grant program to all small business owners who have a storefront 50 years or older within the town. The program previously focused on the downtown and Cambria areas, but now the facade grant is offered anywhere within town limits. Here's how it works. Submit your application. If approved, the town will match your
Approved.
funds up
Okay,
to
good.
$4,500
And then-
There is a part though where it
for
says 50
improvements
years,
to the
so
front
if
of
you
your
change
building.
it to 70, you have to
This
change
could
that.
include door,
Yeah, we'd have to
column,
change
and
it, yeah,
lintel
we'd have to change the
replacement,
dates of the meetings
window
as well,
restoration,
depending on what happens.
your
I have one more
facade,
question.
landscaping
If I
improvements,
can, I
murals,
mean, I know
and more.
that I'm not.
And then landscaping.
I thought the murals that you all had changed that so it goes to Arts Committee, I thought you all. I mean, last year I know that was
Yeah.
the thing that ended up over, since there's the one downtown area over there.
Where they wanted the mural thing.
And
We
you also-
changed that and we sent that to the art committee. Remember that?
With the arts committee.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And then the landscaping, I don't think that we should add the landscaping in there, because then we'll have what happened with the one business last year. That got declined because they put that in there.
Okay, we still do have that. So that's, would be for you all to decide, under what type of work can be done with the grant?
I like everything
The
else,
last one is hardscaping,
I-
landscaping improvements in area between the front of the building and the public street.
I like everything else about landscaping. I just don't want to qualify somebody because they put that in there.
So what, okay, so under what type of work can be done with this grant?
Everything else that you had in there was great.
Well,
Okay, so you'd like us to take out murals as well?
Yes, because that's what we approved last year.
That is correct.
in the application
And that was
form,
my oversight.
any other improvements to the building and/or site plan along with the proposed facade grant improvements. And they can list what they're gonna do, whether it be plumbing or, but that's not part of the facade grant. Not the way I read this.
Right, like plumbing would not.
But it says upgrade to water, sewer, electrical services,
Yeah, we're not doing
interior remodeling and or landscaping. That's not part of the facade grant.
That's
But-
right.
That's what they can do if they
Mm-hmm.
decide, but they can't do it with our money.
Correct.
Well, but that was how we had it last year, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but someone is still apply because they on the main applications landscaping. I think we should really keep the landscaping on that, because I really want an improvement to the building right now. And I think let's change that over time, but let's try to take away the landscaping so we can use as much money
Well,
on the building itself.
there's two ways to read this statement that I just read. There's two ways to think about it. People are gonna understand, some people will say, okay, this is other stuff that I can do. And others are gonna read it and say, oh, I can get landscaping out of it. They're not gonna read the content of what's out there. So do you, do you put for the exterior surface of the building? That way it takes landscaping, takes the porch, well, it wouldn't take the porch, but I mean, it would take landscaping, it would take all the electrical stuff out of there. And that's all, I mean, that doesn't necessarily need to change anything major. It needs to be designated on this
I
application.
think there's so many things, like you and I would read that definitely that way, but at the same
So we're on the
time,
inside, we know.
I know, but someone else wouldn't. I personally feel make it less words, more straight to the point of what we want them to do. And then I think if we put the less information in there and the more that they can do with that money, the better it would be, so we don't have to go through, what are they gonna do with landscaping and stuff, because that's another,
Yeah, but I guess, there's a lot of things that have come up tonight, and I guess my question is, from the memo that was sent out 3 weeks ago, give you up to a certain date and a reminder the day before, why is this just now coming? Why weren't these brought out to, and I might just ask you, why weren't these issued in an email? So I think we need to change these things.
because we need a central business meeting.
Not necessarily, they're just asking for your opinion on
Well,
what
to
you want.
me, I didn't even see the email until after that, and so I wasn't looking at the emails, I was actually taking a health medical leave,
I know, okay.
and so I couldn't respond. I'm not looking at my emails every second of the day and stuff to
Okay.
respond to this. And so anyway, I think that we're good to recommend that to town council on Tuesday. The changes for the 70 years. Are we okay with taking out just the word landscaping in there, just on the stuff, and just leave everything else? I like everything else. The video was wonderful.
I don't disagree. I think you brought up some valid points tonight about some things on this application. As it pertains to the application, the program, the flyer, the video. I mean, there are clearly things that do need to be changed as a result of this meeting as it pertains to details of the facade grant. Again, we do that at this committee. That's what council, you know, or rather the mayor appointed us to this committee to get that work done. I don't see a need,
When
I need to keep it here and then
when
get
I-
it going.
When I requested at the beginning of the year, and I say, I don't think I wanna be part of central business. there
And
was
we
a
both
reason
said
for
that.
And you even said that.
Yeah, we both did.
And Joe Walters told us,
Uh-huh.
you don't make no decisions, you bring recommendations. We make the decisions.
That's one
And
council
this is the
member.
reason why I want this to town council.
But his voice isn't the end all be all either.
Well,
So-
there were other council members that approved and agreed with him. And I think a lot of the times with the meetings, it has always come down to that. Yes, Christine?
My interjection, you may not be on this committee. That way whoever is on it, who gets it next year is gonna know all the changes that have already been made.
Well, there's three new councils, they may not. I mean, there's always gonna be that transition.
Sure
I
is.
think as long as staff is the keeper of it.
Facade
they
grant
can-
started before either one of you came on here.
Correct.
And they brought it to council.
They
Every single
didn't. They
step
did not do that in the beginning.
They bring the whole entire facade grant.
To get it set up and passed,
Right.
but the overall management of it, I don't believe ever came back.
When Randy explained it last year, he actually even said, he said, yeah, we bring it to, I mean, to me, I honestly feel like I would, if,
I wanted to be brought up.
you want me to hash that out, it's between
Yeah.
the two of you, you really.
I think that that's the right thing to do.
I don't
and-
need to get out the door.
And I think
I do make these changes, they're valid changes.
And we'll bring this to town
We're
council.
gonna leave the flyer as it sits. Is that right?
Mm. Yeah, well, I mean, depending,
Well, it depends on when we get it out.
yeah, if it gets out this week, we can keep the dates as they are. If not-
No, this should go to town council for approval. And as a matter of fact, I showed this to two town council members, and they were not very happy about it, so.
I guess we'll have a hell of a vote come Tuesday night, won't we,
There you go.
to determine what we're gonna do.
That would be awesome.
So what is the direction, to- how do we put it on the
It'll go to town council on Tuesday
agenda?
for changes, to tell them all the changes that we made to the application, to tell them that we are expanding.
Is that the will of the committee? I mean, is that
Who did
the
you
motion of
talk
the
to on
committee?
this flyer?
I'm not gonna
Councilmember.
tell you. They can tell you in the meeting.
I know you
Um,
tried to show one, but he didn't look, so anyway, that's beside the point.
So what
It's
is
coming-
the course of action then?
It should be going to town council.
Send the flyer and the changes to town council, council will decide
Yes,
if the flyer's
that would be
good.
great.
I've got one other thing.
What do you think?
Yes, one other thing.
Does it relate to facade grant?
So okay, so just so that I'm clear, you know, this
It's
will
going,
go
not
under,
until after Tuesday,
will go under council committee,
yes.
okay.
Which means the earliest it can be released then is Wednesday of next week?
Well,
If town council approves it.
no, I mean, yeah, it'll take some time, I mean, I wouldn't want staff to make any more changes until we get, I mean, if that is the will of the
Yeah.
committee, you know, to make any changes before we get approved. I don't wanna, you know, get ahead of ourselves, you know? But again, I'm still not entirely clear on the direction of the committee, because I'm hearing that
I'm not either.
we're hearing.
And that's why these things drag on for years on
Yeah.
end.
All right, it's going to Tuesday, town council meeting, and I got
But
another meeting to go
what
to.
he's asking you is what is going to council on Tuesday.
That we are approving the 70-year change. We're approving that we're allowing all the businesses to, apply that are 70 years and older. And we are changing the.
I understand, yeah, I'm just asking for consent, I mean, if that is the direction, I mean, is that coming as a committee report from the
Yes,
Is that a unanimous?
committee?
Is it asking for permission or is it a report?
no, it's just telling them, we are making a change and for them to approve the changes and to allow for the application process to go out with those changes. Recommendation from this committee,
Is it a recommendation from this committee?
yes.
It doesn't matter what I say if it's gonna be 1-1, right? It has to go back to council anyway if we can't agree,
Yeah.
If there's not two council members that
Okay.
have it put on the agenda, it doesn't have to
This
be, it
meeting
doesn't
is
put.
done.